Abdul on CNN. Let's go. Let's
Who are
go.
concerned that if Democratic primary voters pick you, you're not going to be able to win the general election.
I asked them to focus, y'all, because at the end of the day, the issue is the economy, stupid, as I believe the last individual you just highlighted suggested. And right now, people can't afford the basic means of a dignified life. They're worried about whether or not they can see a doctor if they get sick, how they're going to afford a home or the next payment, whether or not they can stay in the job they've worked for years and years. And we're focused on exactly those issues, the issues that Democrats should have been focusing on for the vast majority of the last 20 years. And I think we've taken our eyes off the ball. And in part, it's because too often our politics get sieved through conversations like this about the future of the party. Most people don't care about the future of the party. They care about their future. And so long as we're answering questions about that, helping them to get money out of their politics so we can get money in their pockets and pass Medicare for all, you're going to see candidates who have those conversations like we are in Michigan winning.
The reality, though, is there's no way Medicare for all passes Congress if Democrats don't control the Senate. And if you don't win that Senate seat in Michigan, it's very hard to see how Democrats win the Senate at all.
You're right. And the reason we don't win seats too often is because we offer milquetoast corporate talking points about what we can't have and shouldn't fight for. I believe we can have Medicare for all. I wrote a whole book on how to do it. I know we can do it if we're willing to build the kind of politics and the kind of coalition that gets us there. But we're not going to get there not talking about what we need to actually deliver for folks. I think campaigns are winning across the country because we have bold views on what can actually happen when we're willing to fight for them. And I think Democrats could learn a broader lesson about what we're learning here. I'm a proud Democrat. I love my party. I just want my party to actually focus on the things that real voters actually need in their lives.
So you obviously are very critical of President Donald Trump. You identify him as a problem, as a way that, a place that the country needs to move away from. However, if you're going to win in Michigan, you're going to have to win over at least some Trump voters. The state went for Trump in the most
How do you think you can do
election.
that with America Deserve 9/11
Is there anything that he's done in this second term in office that you can identify as being good for the country?
Never mind. Thank God they're actually asking serious shit.
And as you squint, I think if he lets this housing bill actually pass, despite the fact that he canned his signing ceremony because he wants to pass the SAVE Act, this housing bill will do really, really important work. So I think that's one important thing, bipartisan legislation that actually solves a real problem that people have. But I'll tell you this, I've been to 110 different cities now, 400 in some public events.
That's my goat.
And everywhere I go, I have 3-time Trump voters come up to me and say, I'm voting for you because you really want to keep my tax dollars here and you really want me to have health care. The idea that voters pick on this left-right spectrum, that's a model that we created in our minds, and we keep imposing it on elections, even though it doesn't really explain what's actually happening. Most voters are out there trying to just make sure that they can make ends meet. They don't care as much about our left-right spectrum and blue and red and purple.
I don't know why they
care
keep
about whether or not
shit.
you actually want to solve their problems. And when you go to their community, you have conversations, you've done the listening and the learning, and you're willing to actually tell people where you stand, you'd be surprised how many people who voted for Donald Trump might be voting for somebody named Abdul El-Sayed.
I want to play for you a new attack ad that is out against you. You recently did an interview where you talked about your competitor, Haley Stevens. She's, of course, a member of the House, who's running also in your primary. You said that you hoped AIPAC could, quote, teach her how to string together two coherent sentences. There's now this ad attacking you in the way that you talk about women. Let's watch it, and we'll talk about it on the other side. Take a look.
Abdul El-Sayed has a long history of disrespecting women. He called Michelle Obama's work with children uninspired and ineffectual, claimed Gretchen Whitmer was bought and sold. In a discrimination lawsuit, El-Sayed was accused of telling a woman he didn't want to work with anyone over 40. And an employee said he was offered payment to keep silent after witnessing El-Sayed disparaging women. A history of disrespecting women.
What do you say to the people that put that ad together about what they say about your record?
Let's talk about the people who put that ad together. You didn't play the part where they said UDP is responsible for the content of this advertising. UDP is AIPAC's super PAC. They've already spent $30 million to boost my opponent, and they've realized that they're still not getting where they want to go. So they've decided to take a really disparaging, below-the-belt character attack on me. I've spent my whole career fighting with and alongside women for women's health. That's been my work at the Detroit Health Department and leading Wayne County's Department of Health, Human and Veteran Services. But the reason that they're playing this ad, the reason that they're going to blanket the airwaves with this, is because they want to trick us into thinking that the best possible outcome for our tax dollars is to continue to send them abroad to kill women and children in Gaza and Iran and Lebanon, instead of spending that money like we did when I was in Wayne County's Department of Health, Human and Veteran Services, actually providing women's health care, providing for children, and building a kind of America that we need and deserve. That has been the work that AIPAC has done for a very long time. Michiganders know who I am. They know my record. They know how I show up. And I'm confident that come election day, they're going to swipe aside a lot of these terrible attack ads and choose with their hearts where they want their tax dollars to be spent, on them and their kids.
When you said that you hope that AIPAC could teach Stevens how to string two coherent sentences together, do you regret how you phrased that at all? Is that the right way to put it?
Obviously, Congresswoman Stevens is really smart, which is why it's so surprising that whenever you ask her why, for example, she took a trip to Portugal paid for by Center Forward, one of the super PACs that is playing in this election, to Portugal with her mom, why she took that trip, why she's taking $30 million from AIPAC, where her money comes from, she struggles to explain what that is. And so I just think it's really important for us to get a clear explanation of where that money's coming from and what she's promised to these corporations and super PACs, including AIPAC, about what she plans to do for them when she's in office.
Do you want to see the super PAC supporting you air negative ads like they've now said they were planning to do?
Obviously, I don't coordinate with them, but you're talking about the National Nurses United, the UAW, Working Families Party. These are folks who are trying to push back against the mis and disinformation that you just saw from AIPAC. So at the end of the day, I would rather not engage in negative campaigning at all. I don't do it on my campaign. We're focused on talking about getting money out of politics, putting money in your pocket, passing Medicare for all, standing up with and for women, doing the work that builds in America, where everybody knows that they get the health care they need when they need it, that they can get child care when they need it, and that their healthcare and their economy is not dominated by a large corporation telling us what we can't have, shouldn't fight for, and have to put up with.
Obviously, AIPAC is a big part of this conversation because Israel has become a very central topic, especially inside the Democratic Party, but nationally as well. Do you believe Israel has a right to exist?
So, Casey, AIPAC's become a big issue in this election because AIPAC's already spent $30 million in this election. They're by far the biggest spender in the race. Now, the question about a right to exist is interesting because nobody's ever asked me whether or not I believe Palestine has a right to exist. Every single president who served has said that they believe in a two-state solution. Israel exists. The question is whether or not we want a politics where our money is sent over to Israel to do genocide and apartheid instead of investing in our own kids.
You say it exists, but does it have a right to?
No, I didn't say that. I just said the question of Israel's existence is not a question. I'm not going to play this gotcha game about whether or not it has a right to exist. The question ultimately is about whether or not we want a politics that dignifies.
You're not going to play the gotcha game, but you're not going to say you think Israel has a right to exist.
Well, my question, Casey, I think the question we all ought to ask is, does everybody have equal rights to peace, dignity, and self-determination? That's Jewish, Israelis, and Palestinians. And to me, the folks who should answer what the ultimate peace there looks like should be Jewish, Israelis, and Palestinians. I want my tax dollars spent here in Michigan to provide schools in Michigan, to build healthcare in Michigan, to invest in Michigan, rather than to be sent abroad to kill Palestinian people, do genocides and apartheid. The question about whether or not Israel has a right to exist is actually quite secondary to whether or not they have a right to our tax dollars. And people don't ask that question in good faith. So if you want to ask me about Palestinian right to exist, you want to ask me about what I want to do for kids in Michigan, I'm happy to answer that question. But the AIPAC and Israel have become secondary questions that too many people have to talk about because our tax dollars keep getting spent over there rather than being spent over here.
All right. And finally, I also wanted to ask you about some of the tweets that you deleted as you were, in the course of this race just before, around this question of defunding the police. This is also something likely to come up in a general election should you win this primary. Do you stand by what you had previously said, that police, in support of defunding the police, or do you believe police should be funded?
So, Casey, in my time leading Wayne County's Department of Health, Human and Veteran Services, I had the responsibility of rebuilding a juvenile detention facility. I raised salaries 35% for workers there to make sure that the public health emergency that we had to call no longer existed. So judge me by my work rather than some deleted tweets, because nobody ever asked me across the 100 and I deleted all the tweets because I didn't want them to be taken out of context like this so that you could distract from the actual conversation that Michiganders really want to have about what they want their leadership to actually fight for them to do.
Well, I think the question is just, if you're leading, would you fight to defund the police, or would you not?
I've already told you what I did. Judge me by my work. Judge me by my work. I funded the system because it needed to be funded. Too often the conversation we have is fund or defund. The question that we don't ask is, what kind of system do we really want? I want us to be investing in the kinds of interventions that actually protect people, whether you're talking about people on the streets or people in law enforcement. That means investing in recruitment and retirement for law enforcement. It also means investing in community violence intervention, investing in behavioral health response, investing in public health and anti-poverty measures. Those are things that are not mutually exclusive. And I think this debate about 2020 and the ways that tweets are going to play are really nice on CNN if you want to get clicks. They're not that effective, and nobody really asks me about them on the streets or in communities in Michigan. So if you want to talk about housing or healthcare or corporate dominance or politics, I think those are a lot more legitimate questions that people are actually asking me about what they want their next senator to do in the state of Michigan.
You get to vote for this guy, bro.
So voters shouldn't look at the fact that you deleted the tweets as evidence that you no longer support the things that you said, then?
Casey, you might. I mean,
listen.
Find that to be a really
I understand what you're saying
conversation.
about.
I'm just talking about what I hear about from people in Michigan.
I understand. But you deleted the tweets, right? That's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you about an action. Okay.
And look, I'm talking about the action that I took to actually fund the juvenile detention facility to make sure that youth in that facility were safe. Now, tweets are not quite as much of an action as the work that I did when I was in public service. But I appreciate the line of questioning, and if you want to keep doing it, that's fine. But I'm just telling you that I think most people are more interested in whether or not you're fighting for their housing, whether or not you're fighting for their schools, whether or not you want to keep their tax dollars here at home.
All right. And before I let you go, of course, AOC did endorse you in your race. Should we expect to see her on the campaign trail with you soon?
We're absolutely looking forward to having her. I mean, this is somebody who has redefine the way it means to fight for values about keeping money out of politics so that we can get money in pockets, passing Medicare for all. We can't wait to have her in the state. And I know there are a lot of folks here in Michigan looking forward to meeting her.
You also, of course, have campaigned alongside Hassan Piker. Do you believe that the statements that he has made about September 11th are accurate?
So, Casey, no, I don't. But I'm also... Again, you can hold me accountable for what I say and do, but I do not agree with everything anybody I've campaigned with has said. And that's just the nature of public discourse. I campaign with folks because I want to reach the massive audience that they have to have a conversation about bringing them back to our politics. A politics that gets money out of politics, puts money in your pocket, passes Medicare for all. So I'm grateful for a lot of the things Hassan and I agree with, but he's condemned those comments himself. I clearly don't agree with them. But the question now is a lot more about what kind of politics do we want? Do we want a politics where folks like AIPAC
Not many people are asking, does Hassan Piker have a right to exist?
Glossy ads by dumping $30 million into these elections?
People always ask, does Israel have a right to exist? Israel exists.
Because I believe in a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And right now, I feel like we've gotten way too far away from that.
All right, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed, thank you very much for spending some time in the arena. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you soon. All right, coming up, my panel is here in the arena now. CNN correspondent Arlette Saenz, CNN contributor, host of the New York Times interview,
that was so good.
Democratic strategist and former White House director of message planning, Meghan Hayes, is here. Republican strategist, former Mitt Romney campaign advisor, Kevin Madden is here as well. I took up most of our panel time here with the interview, but Arlette, I wanted to get you to weigh in there because this race, of course, is one. It's a three-way race. There are two Democratic women running. And there's a lot of concern among Democrats that if Dr. El-Sayed wins, they might lose the general election. Now, that said, I don't know if their track record is great necessarily. There are a lot of things that are changing really fast in terms of what voters are looking for and willing to do. What is your analysis in the big picture as you look at all these races?
Well, this Democratic primary is certainly the most bruising of these inter-party battles this cycle. And it's really going to offer a major test of where the Democratic Party stands, whether they want to go with this progressive who they feel has a lot of the energy in the race, or if they feel running a more moderate establishment type of candidate like Haley Stevens is the way to success in a place like Michigan. The progressive and democratic socialist success that we've seen in other states, I think this is how you teed up your...
Y'all talk shit about not watching MasterChef on stream. That was MasterChef. He was chefing. He was fucking chefing it up. To answer this question, the money is close to infinite relative to the scale needed, but super wealthy people do not like to spend money for nothing, so it'll become incredibly challenging to convince them to keep doing so. They're dumping $34 million into this race. Serious question: is the money well just infinite, or will they run out on some point? This shift is so gross. This shit is so gross. I don't get how anyone thinks we live in a democracy, even by liberal standards. Yeah, there's only so many of these fucking polls that these guys will see until they go, all right, dude, what are we doing here? It's just not fucking working. Here's a pro Abdul El-Sayed super PAC, First and Semaphore, came out with a new poll Abdul Al-Sayed 46%, Haley Stevens 27%, Mallory McMorrow 17%. At some point, they got to go, all right, we're done. Either they're going to try to consolidate the votes between Haley Stevens and Mallory McMorrow, okay? Or they're going to fucking give up and just go, all right, fuck it, he won. Nothing we can do about it. Because here's the thing, okay? They can try to rat fuck this every day till Sunday, but at the end of the day, if he just keeps going on media, if he keeps going on mainstream platforms and cooks in the way that he just did, because that CNN interview was a goddamn clinic, okay? Perfectly reasonable, perfectly moderate, like moderate in the sense that like the average voter will respond positively to. There's no place where he comes across like a radical, right? Like those answers are all perfectly designed to reach the homes of red voters, blue voters, independents, non-voters, right? Because the reality of the matter is the things that we talk about, right? The things that we talk about on this broadcast, these are not radical things. These are things that actually many people in the working class also identify with, understand. Abdul Al-Sayed will just go on those fucking interviews and just whip it up. Boom, 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 boom. It's incredible. That was a clinic, dude. That was a goddamn clinic. And here's the other thing, okay? Here's the other thing. Part of the reason why he's so good at this is also because there's not a lot that they can use the rat fuck him with, right? With Graham Plattner, there is a laundry list of red flags and shit that they can just constantly hammer on over and over again. The only thing that they can hit him on is his campaigning with me. And that already didn't work. It literally backfired, because why the fuck would anyone be like, I can't believe this guy is talking to this dangerous radical. Yeah, this dangerous radical that your fucking children are listening to, and is a far better person that your children are listening to if you're like 65 plus years old, right? Than fucking Andrew Tate or Nick Fuentes or Fox News or any number of different media outlets. That's it. It's just like, you have nothing. You have nothing. Oh, I can't believe you're like campaigning with Hassan Piker. Yeah, keep doing that, man. Keep doing that. Keep hitting that line over and over again. Keep talking about how fucking self-glazed. No, it's stupid. And I've been saying it's stupid. It's not because I'm like a unbelievably powerful or popular figure in American politics. It's actually the exact opposite. It's a cheap gotcha that most people understand. It's a cheap gotcha to be like, you've campaigned with this random fucking person that most people have never heard of. Or it's a cheap gotcha to be like, you tweeted this. You tweeted this 4 years ago. Who gives a fuck? Do you understand? It's stupid. It's a stupid thing. It doesn't work that way. If you have a platform that you can lean into over and over again, if you're running for something, okay? If you're running for something and you want to talk about that, and the mainstream outlets that have you on only want to talk about your old tweets or who you have campaigned with, you're fucked. I mean, you could just always go back to the issues, which is what I said with Zoran as well. And Zoran did that so perfectly. And Abdul is doing that so perfectly. Okay? It's that simple. You automatically make your opposition look silly. And this is why left economic populism is so successful and will be successful in dethroning Republicans all across the country. Okay? That's it. That's it. All across the country, if the Republicans only have, oh, what about transgender, while you're like, I want healthcare. Like, I want to give people healthcare. That's why I'm running. I want to give people adequate housing. That's why I'm running. I want to end these wars. That's why I'm running. When you say that, I want to fight back against entrenched power. I want to drain the swamp. That's why I'm running. When you say stuff like that, and your opposition only has, well, what about your old tweets? You like transgender people too much. It's like, yeah, okay. What are we talking about? That's like 1,000 total people in the state of Michigan that you want to fucking dominate for no reason. Like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Remember, they did this in Denver. Okay. We at this point have a fucking graveyard of local media outlets that hammer this point on over and over again. After Denver area venues Nick's rally with the Hassan Piker, Democrats weigh whether online figures help or hurt campaigns. Well, it turns out it doesn't fucking hurt. W after W after W. Abdul is the only person I've seen successfully recreate the Mamdani method of a policy list. It's not just priorities, it's a slogan you can use in this case. Money out of politics, money in your pocket, Medicare for all. Yeah, This interview was so scathing that Wolf Blitzer was basically having sex with Jonathan Concuncrius live on air during the genocide. I don't know. What the fuck? Oh. Yeah, you might think to yourself, why would AIPAC waste this money when they know Abdul will win the primary? Answer, so they can soften him up for the general and beat him with the Republican, but make the attacks look like they're coming from a fellow Dem. By not banning AIPAC, a GOP-leaning group, from spending in Dem primaries, Dem leadership paved the pathway for this. Now, it doesn't matter because it's not going to fucking work because their candidate is dog shit. Their policies are dog shit. The party is dog shit. So obviously, there's a reason for why there's a blue wave that is most likely going to happen this year. Okay? So it's already set. Democrats can either take advantage of that and build a reliable blue wall by running good candidates everywhere, candidates that do not shy away from left economic populism as their agenda, as their message, or they can take advantage of this to reassert their dominance over the party by fucking running establishment Democrats as they're trying to fucking do. But that's why the primary system is where it matters the most. Your voice matters the most. That's why I keep stressing this over and over again, because they're dumping $30 million in the fucking primaries. It's not going to work. Abdul's still going to fucking win, inshallah. Okay. What is this? Have you seen this incredible tweet? Yeah. Oh, now replace DSA members with Jews. Not so funny now, is it? I love that's my favorite idiotic thing that people who want to defend Israel do. Yeah. I like to pet puppies. Replace puppies with little babies. Not so funny now, is it? All of a sudden, boom, you're a pedophile. Not so funny now, is it? That's right. Got him. Checkmate. You just got destroyed. Anyway, but yeah, the point is, if you have solid fundamentals, which Abdul does, right? Left populist candidates have those solid fundamentals. They can always go back to the policy because that's what fucking matters. That's what voting is about. Sure. There is an element of popularity contest. So you have to have Riz, you have to have swag, you have to be charismatic, you have to be confident. Certainly. I'm not discounting that, right? But ultimately, you vote for someone for what they're going to do for you, right? You vote for someone not because you want to have a beer with them. You technically are supposed to vote for someone, theoretically, in theory, under a theoretical democratic process. You vote for someone because they're going to be your public servant. They're going to be your elected representative. They're going to represent your interests. They're going to fight for you. In America, we've lost that notion a long time ago. We've lost that notion a long time ago. So we've just decided, oh, we're just fucking voting for people. We're just voting for people off of vibes alone. Or how much they want to dominate transgenders or whatever, right? It's fucking ridiculous.
To get outspent 30-1 by AIPAC's money. Detroit, 12-1. Grand Rapids, 28-1. Flint,
46-1. Lansing, 60-1. Traverse City, 230-1.
Look, I knew I was going to get outspent by AIPAC, by the corporate PACs, and it's happening. But I've got something better than their money. And that's you. So if you can, rush us a donation. $5, $10 go a long way. Sign up to volunteer, knock doors, make phone calls, send text messages. We need you out there. Because if it comes between the money and the many, we're going to take the money every
time. Great stuff. Donnie Douche is on MS now. I think this chatter needs a vacation to chat jail. Don't vote for Abdul. He's going to run it like a hospital. Okay, good one, man. Okay. I think that I would rather have a beer with that guy was actually just a proto-authenticity movement before we really articulated that. It's not actually a question of vibes, but about whether this politician is actually honest and will actually fight for you. No, it's vibes too. But you focus on vibes when there's no policy. And in American politics, we've completely lost track of what fucking matters. After decades and decades and decades of this duopoly, we've forgotten that you're supposed to vote for something. You're supposed to vote so that your elected representatives serve your interests. They're supposed to sell you on why you must go out and fucking vote. We've forgotten about that reality, okay? That's the issue. That's the issue of decades and decades of neoliberalism and this duopoly control that we have, this that has yielded this oligarchy that gave tremendous bounties and tremendous consolidation of wealth and power to the tippy top of society. That's it. There is a hunger, a W hunger, for good policies. Good policies is good politics, okay? If you have nothing, then yeah, you make that decision on vibes alone. Wish your Mike's base was short out so we could have the old school frat dude bro gamer vibes back. Why you got to grow a beard and put on a big boy show? Do you think you will clean up as good as Carmelo did in the can? Wait, what? What does this even mean? Jorgen Peterson. Old school frat dude bro gamer vibes back. Why you got to grow a beard and put on a big boy show? Do you think you will clean up as good as Carmelo did in the can? Are you all right, dude? If you're a racist Euroid, why do you care about like American domestic incidents, like a stabbing that took place and the dude who did the stabbing actually went to prison? Like what? Like why would you ever? If you're living in like fucking the Netherlands or whatever, like you should not know who Carmelo Anthony is. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking about Melo, like Melo from the Knicks. This is a person who's talking about that one specific case in Texas. It's just so strange to use that, like to be so invested in American politics to that degree where you're like literally using like American racial animus in the chat. News. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tells me she's endorsing Abdul al-Sayed, her first Senate primary endorsement in 2026 in critical Michigan. Her thinking, the Schumer collision, the state of the race, the left's emboldened moment, and more. All right, we'll read that. We'll go through it. Asmold chatter, 100%. Dan Goldman says support for Israel cost them New York Democratic primary.
So long, idiot. Oh, what took you so long, idiot?
Oh, they're going to say this is, they're going to say you're depicting a Jewish man as a bug. This is racism, or this is anti-Semitism. That's what they're going to say. Hassan's travel advisor to Cuba got arrested and you're laughing. Yes, rat fucking people over the most money possible makes logical sense. Great post. Fuck yeah, nepotism. Dude, I swear to God, this is a genuine mental illness. Will Hassan clean up as well as Carmelo? Like, your only understanding of American politics literally revolves around what I'm doing. That's so strange, buddy. This is not politics. Like, you have duped yourself. You have literally limited yourself. You rate limited your brain, okay? If you think American politics or politics in general ends and begins with what you perceive is going to happen to an American political commentator that you don't like, you have rate limited yourself so aggressively. How's your sleep lately? You seem upset, friend. How's your sleep lately? Pretty good. I mean, I've been kind of tired because I've been traveling all around the country, obviously, getting Democratic Socialists elected. I don't know if you've been paying attention. It seems like you've been paying attention to quite a bit to everything I'm doing. But like, seriously, do you not understand? Like, you're not, like, this is not real news, right? This is just your own personal fascination that you've designed in your mind. Like, I occupy way too much time in your head. Don't scroll your mouse and read the first message. I could fix her, but she won't let me. She's my type, dude. Why did they all have to become libtarded? Foids are obsolete. I just don't get it. I truly don't understand how you can live like this. I updated the endorsement tracker for Abdul. It's all going according to plan. The 3 minimum endorsement level has been reached. Boom. Boom. The three endorsement threshold has been reached for Abdul al-Sayed, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you rest and relax when time allows. You're good when you aren't being a dick and overly white. It's just, I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get why you would personally limit your life to this degree. You know what I mean? There is no way it gives you that much satisfaction. You know, there is no shot that this can be as satisfying as you think it is or as healthy as you think it is for your mind, right? For your soul. Doesn't make sense. I want you to do better for yourself. Self-improvement. Go on a journey of self-improvement, okay? Not enough Valium in the world to help Hassan sleep in his brain. Like, this is what I mean. Look at this. Look, he's losing sleep over this, I promise. There are many Vlads. We just need license, security clearance. Just wait, Hassan. Oh, yeah, things are going to heat up. Like, think about it this way. Even if I went to prison, right? Even if the Trump administration, like, threw me in prison, okay, you get, like, 1 day of celebration. You're like, oh, hell yeah, I hate this fucking guy, right? And now the fascist Trump administration threw his ass in jail, okay? Throw me some cash and I'll be your biggest friend, buddy. I'll do ops 24/7. See, this is what I mean. Dog. That's not going to help you either. Okay. Maybe in the interim, but like you got to fucking, I'm trying to give you the keys to self-improvement. You got to work on yourself, man. Set some fucking goals for yourself, some long-term goals, some short-term goals that revolve around self-improvement, whether it be your body, your mind, your soul. Okay. Lock in. This kind of shit is so deeply parasocial and so unbelievably unhealthy. Okay. You can do it. I believe in you. Okay. You can do it. It's also especially funny that you're apparently broke and you're fucking championing Asmongold's cause when you just keep saying broke boys ain't shit. The bottom 2% is destroying society, not the top 2%, you know? New Politico, AOC and Zoran are closely coordinating. Mayor Mamdani and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez were in closer touch than previously known before they issued the... Oh, wow. Shocking. Guys, I told you this over and over again, leading up to the fucking endorsements. Yeah, it's the most obvious news story of all time, okay? Personally, I'm shocked by this. Low-key, racism is the most low IQ thing, low IQ bait that you can fucking dive into head first, okay? Same with transphobia. Straight up. They're duping you. They're duping you into thinking that these concepts that they are advancing are somehow ruining your life, okay? And it's so easy. And I promise you, there are people in positions of power that sit around and laugh about it, okay? They're like, oh, they fell for it again. How stupid. How stupid are these fucking idiots? Oh my God, it's the easiest thing of all time. All we got to do as we endlessly defend corporations and billionaires and their interests, all we got to do is just cut an ad where we say, look at these black people, look at these scary brown people, look at these scary trans people. Democrats want to transgender you, okay? And people look at that and go, oh, that's right. They want to chop my dick off. That's what they want to do. They want to chop my dick off. They're not even subtle about it. Stop falling for it, man. Look at Trump. He did it. Promises made, promises kept. He followed through on 0 of his promises to improve your life on the economic side. And he followed through on all of his promises about, like, you know, closing the borders and erasing transgender people from existence, right? Like no more trans athletes. Did that improve your life at all? At a certain point, you have to realize, like, oh, this was just a lie, okay? This was just a lie that they were telling. Like, oh, if we just ban all the trans athletes, all of a sudden, my life is going to improve. Did it improve? Is shit better for you? No, it's not. It's not better for you, right? Is it getting better for you? Do you feel like there's hope for a better future, for a better tomorrow? No. At some point, you got to realize maybe you were duped. And it's okay. It's not easy to recognize, okay? It's not healthy. It's not easy to recognize when you're being duped, right? It's tough. I get it. No one wants to feel stupid. No one wants to feel small. No one wants to feel silly. But at some point, you have to realize it. And it's liberating when you do. When you realize that these guys are simply lying to you and they're shifting your attention, the real angst, the animosity, the anger that you feel because shit's not getting better, they take that anger and they redirect it to vulnerable populations to make you think they have a different interest than you. Okay? They design enemies for you to get mad at. That's it. That's why nothing ever changes. But there are thousands of people in this community that also felt the same resentment that you did, and they worked through it. They worked through that cognitive dissonance. They worked through that anger and frustration. They were, at some point, a little charitable to the argument that I was making. It clicked at some point. If you stick around and you're charitable, it'll click for you all the same, okay? And when it does, I promise you, you will be in a much healthier circumstance. But in the interim, if you want to, continue leaning into this nonsense, you can just keep going. Yeah, why don't we just fucking arrest Hassan Piker? He's a bad person. When will it work? When will we finally get rid of this fucking piece of shit? Most likely it won't be successful. But even if it is, your life is not going to get better. Okay? People are duping you into believing. People are duping you into believing that, like, I'm your fucking enemy.